Hello and welcome to another episode of Grammar Hacks with Hacking Spanish. Today we're going to look at the verb system in Spanish. Not only the verb system, but we're also going to look at the present tense and the regular verbs in the present tense, but with the idea of understanding more of the verb system, not necessarily with a focus on the present tense. So this is a video that we will be working with the present to make it easy, but it could be useful for anyone of any level who is a bit confused about how this works. But first, we need to ask a question here. What is an infinitive? What is a verb in an infinitive form? This will be important pretty soon because it will help us understand how the system works. So an infinitive is, for example, the word trabajar, to work. Those are infinitives. An infinitive, if you want to think about it in a different way, is a verb in its abstract form that is isolated from any person or tense. So there are many infinitives, as many infinitives as there are verbs, needless to say. And infinitives in Spanish are very different from English. In English you have a wide variety of infinitives, like let's say to see, to watch, to open, to close, to tell, and so on. There isn't a clear system for infinitives in English, and if there is one I haven't figured out. You will understand what I mean in a minute. Actually, if there is a system and I haven't figured out, please put it in the comments so I know I can improve my English too. So infinitives in Spanish, on the other hand, are very easy to put into a system because there are only 3 possible endings. Like in English you have a variety of endings, to see, to open, to close, to wound, to kill, whatever. In Spanish the endings are only 3: ar, er, ir. Only 3, very easy to systematize them. So we can have verbs like trabajar, which means to work, verbs like comer, which means to eat, verbs like vivir, which means to live. And why is this important? Well, because it's through these 3 endings that we create the whole system of Spanish. So let's put them into a table and let's add the persons. Yo means I, tú means you, él means he. You could add ella, he, which means she, but I don't have space to fit both. Nosotros means we. If we are a female group, we would say nosotras. Vosotros means you guys. You could say vosotras for females, you girls. Ellos means they. Ellas would be they, female. So these are the persons. We got the 3 possible endings, and if you see there is a part that is black and another one that is red. So this is so because the black part, which is the root, is the part that will remain the same, and the only part that will change is the red part, which is the ending. The root is called raíz in Spanish, the ending is called desinencia. So yes, the roots will remain the same. So that's already, we got something to work with. So the endings, the red parts, are the ones that are going to change. So let's take the first column, trabajar. So we say yo trabajo, tú trabajas, él trabaja, nosotros trabajamos, vosotros trabajáis, ellos trabajan. So look at this, it's very interesting. Let's isolate it. If you look, the first thing that you will notice is that there is no repetition. Trabajo is only yo, trabajas is only tú, trabaja is only he or she, él or ella, and so on. Trabajo is very interesting. That little o, only that little o there tells me that it's a present tense, first person, of a verb that ends in ar. So I don't need to really say yo trabajo en un banco, which what by the way means I work in a bank. I don't need to say yo trabajo en un banco, because if I say trabajo en un banco, I'm saying the same. I can drop that yo, I can drop it because there is no repetition if you look at the table again. So we do that in Spanish a lot. We drop the pronouns. We don't need to say yo trabajo en un banco, because if I say trabajo en un banco, that's enough to understand that I'm saying I work in a bank. In English you cannot say that, because work could be I work, could be we work, could be they work, and so on. By the way, there are some tenses in which there is repetition between the first and the third person, but let's not go there. Let's not need to do that today. For the time being, you remember that most of the time there is no repetition. But actually, it gets much more interesting than this. Let's take the verb tomar, yeah, which by the way means to take, yeah, tomar. And if you look at tomar, it's a verb of the first ending, so it just looks like trabajar, which you have here on the right. So what happens? Well, if we remove the trabaj, the root of trabajar, and we keep the ending, we will have the same conjugation, yeah? Tomo, tomas, toma, tomamos, tomais, toman, yeah? The ending remains the same. I go back, yeah, and forth. So that's very useful, yeah, very useful. Basically, once you know one ending, you know the ending for all of the verbs that end in R, yeah. And obviously, this applies to regular verbs, yeah. Sorry, I apologize, but that's Spanish, yeah. But let's go back and see what happens with ir, because you must be wondering, okay, you talk only about tomar. Well, let's look at comer. It will change only the red part, yeah, como, comes, come, comemos, coméis, come. You see, slightly different from tomar, although the first, the yo is the same. Vivir is also very similar to comer, they copy one another. At the top we got the same o, but here we got es, which is similar to comer, e, which is similar to comer as well. Here it changes a little bit to vivimos, which is changing towards the I here, vivis, and now we go back to that N. So there is a certain similarity between the three endings, but there's also a little tiny difference, yeah? This is something that you don't need to obsess about. You will remember these endings through exercises, remembering phrases. Don't try to remember the endings alone, because that doesn't help really. It's like it gives you a false idea of understanding, but it will probably slow you down if you need to be thinking the right ending. Try to remember phrases, try to remember words, and so on. And of course, you know, like the R ending, all regular verbs that end in er or ir will follow the respective pattern. So you see that this is a really strong system that we got here. It's quite mathematical. There is a certain algorithm, you know, and like I said before, this applies to all the regular verbs of all tenses. Another time we're gonna talk about irregular verbs, yeah, because special verbs, they're slightly different. There are other ways of trying to get our head around those, yeah. So to round up, verbs in the infinitive can only end in ar, er, or ir, yeah? The part that is not the ar, er, ir, that's the root, is the part that remains stable. All regular verbs that end in ar will follow the same changes. Obviously, the same applies to the verbs that end in er and in ir with their respective changes, yeah? So I leave this here for a second if you want to probably screenshot it or slow down and recap what we looked at. I know there's a lot to take in, sorry, but you can listen to this again and it will make sense, believe me. Spanish is a very, very systematic language. We got that going, and once you crack the system, all the tenses that seem so many, you know, they become easier. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you find it useful. Please subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any questions. I will get back to you as soon as we can, and we talk to you at the next time. Take care.